All right, so for you degenerate boxing fans, about 10 minutes ago, the WBO and IBF 160-pound champion, Janibek Alimkhanuly of Kazakhstan. He's in the same management stable as Lomachenko, Usyk, Golovkin, Artur Beterbiev. He's a Igor Klima's fighter, ESPN top-ranked fighter. He fought over in Australia against Andre Mikhailovich, in which an Australian boxing promoter, the promoter of Tszyu, No Limit, won a purse bid a couple of months back. So for some reason, this fight was put in Australia, and for No Limit to spend the money that they did on this fight for Mikhailovich, knowing that he was a heavy underdog, a significant underdog, and really no one gave him a chance to win. But when it comes to this fight, there is it is kind of newsworthy. So even though it's not a fight that I expected for American fans to be up at 5 a.m. in the morning to watch the card, for example, it is 7:40 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, October the 4th, 2024. And you know how I get down. I'm a degenerate for Australian boxing. So this is TstreeT Controversy and Fight View 360. My colleague Big J on the line. I'm going to tell you right now, straight off the top of my head. See, I've been watching this guy, Janibek Alimkhanuly. I saw the Vincenzo Gutierrez fight, the Stephen Butler fight, the Denzel Bentley fight. Those videos on the channel, by the way. The Danny Dignam fight, the Hassan Inam fight, and the Rob Brand. Damn, I've been covering this guy since 2021. So I've covered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is my 7th Janibek Alimkhanuly post-fight video, and I'm going to tell you, ain't nothing special there. It's already bad enough that he's in a dead division that's led by Erislandy Lara, who fought Danny Garcia of all people and dispatched him a few weeks ago. So, and Carlos Adames is the WBC champion. So to break it down right here, look at how nasty these rankings are at the 160-pound division, and even look at the top contenders outside of Hamza Sheeraz. Sheeraz, yeah. Look at the top contenders. You got number 1 ranked Shane Mosley Jr. by the WBA. Andre Mikhailovich, he was the mandatory for the IBF, right, Big J?
Yes. Andre Mikhailovich was mandatory for IBF, yes.
Yeah, so, and as you can see, you got guys like Chris Eubank Jr., who's been linked to Canelo. He's going to be fighting in a couple of weeks on the undercard of Beterbiev versus Bivol. You got guys like Liam Smith at 160, by the way. Now Liam Smith is a 154-pounder, but the point I'm trying to make to you is look at the names on this list. It's a pitiful division, and Alimkhanuly, you can say outside of knocking down Mikhailovich in round number 2, and a lot of people may argue that it should have been stopped. But nonetheless, he started engaging with this guy, and he showed that he really couldn't fight in the phone booth. And basically, I'm going to say, I just don't see nothing special. As I'm showing you here, the highlights here of the fight of him getting the stoppage. Some may say it was early. As you can see, the ref goes in and stops the fight in about to enter of round number 9. I just don't.
It wasn't early. It was 6 rounds too bloody late.
Yeah, I just don't see it. What are your thoughts on the fight?
Well, it should have been stopped in the second round. He got his ass kicked off. By the way, I just sent you the scorecards via Ben Damon on Twitter, so if you want to bring that up.
Yep.
According to the judges here, Hamza was streets ahead. 71-80, 78-73, 71-80. So there was no way in hell he was going to lose the decision.
Okay, gotcha.
So,
because see, I was expecting, because it's in Australia, to probably be some dodgy cards, some judge somewhere trying to give Mikhailovich some extra rounds.
Nah, not going to happen. Nah,
well, actually, one judge did give him round number 4 and round number 6. The only judge. I don't think so somebody gave him a little bit of help. I guess we could say it that way.
Yeah, exactly. But the thing, the positive you got to take away from this is that Mikhailovich, to his credit, completely exposed Hamza, and everyone knows his weaknesses. So next person that fights Janibek is just going to rush up to him and put him in a phone booth, because that's when he's like a bloody deer in the headlights. He didn't know what to do.
He didn't know what to do once he started taking it to his face. I saw that.
Yep. So that's how you beat Janibek, is you rush up to him and you put him in the phone booth.
Yeah.
And I'm actually quite surprised that Janibek didn't. Well, he got the job done. It should have been stopped in the second round, but by the fourth round, he looked like completely either disinterested or. I hate it when boxers play with their food. Just knock the guy out and go home.
They were saying
Stop
that
mucking around.
the commentators at the end of the card was saying that as well. Like, why didn't he just go out there and just stop him?
Exactly. Why play with your food? Because the longer you're in there, the more chance that he might get a lucky punch in and knock your ass
those
out.
Eastern European fighters, they're known to be very cautious.
Yeah, that's fine. But, I mean, Mikhailovich was no threat to him at any point, so just bloody drop him. But then again, Janibek's favourite punch is the uppercut, so I don't understand why, when fighting in the phone booth, he couldn't uppercut him anyway. You can't be at range and throw an effective uppercut. You've got to be close to him.
Yeah,
So
I'm looking at the clip here, and Top Rank actually posted the tweet, literally a tweet, Janibek playing with his food. And you see, I'm playing the clip right here, and he could have got him out of there.
Exactly, and that has backfired before, where fighters have played with their food and they get knocked out because they're too busy mucking around.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yes, he had a year layoff, but at his level, and he's supposed to be the top guy in the division, a year layoff shouldn't mean dick.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you know, the fight was supposed to happen back in July. He missed weight. Honestly, I said that I think that this is one of these fighters where, because Mikhailovich was very cocky and they were being quite stupid at the presser. I don't know if you saw it, but his trainer, I think Isaac Peach is his name, was saying, you know, that Janibek's team was disgraceful for missing weight. I'm like, mate, it was a medical thing. He didn't even get to the scale, so I'm prepared to let that one slide, even though everyone else said, he should have got stripped of his belt. Well, he never made it to the scale. So if he's got a medical emergency, that's a little bit different than missing weight. So let that one slide, and then, of course, Andre, who was being very cocky at the presser, gets absolutely destroyed, and he'll end up on one of those reels where cocky fighters get destroyed, because that's exactly what it deserves, because he was being a little bit overzealous. He should have learnt his place. I mean, his record, 21-0, but you look at his record, they're all domestic level fighters.
We went through that. We went through his resume, and we was looking at ain't nothing there. But maybe, do you think this could possibly be? See, here's the thing. This is no disrespect to the bloke, you know, but I see him as a C-level fighter from what I've seen out there, and looking at his resume, ain't really nothing there. So I'm wondering if it's one of those type of wins. I mean, losses, excuse me. It should help Mikhailovich a little bit, because he did have some spirited moments in there before he got stopped.
I think it'll help him a lot, because a lot of people didn't think he would go past 4 rounds. Yeah. So to go 9 rounds and to keep putting the pressure on Janibek and completely neutralise him by putting him in the phone box, that's going to tick a lot of boxes for him, because, as I said, people are going to study this and go, well, here's Janibek's weaknesses, and you exploit them. So people will be thanking Mikhailovich for that, because he pretty much just gave you a written list of Janibek's weaknesses.
Yeah, and that's the talking point of this fight is, you know, is that if you watch this fight, it's like, okay, this guy, you know, he's not, I don't see anything special. I'm not going to say he's not good. You know, I just don't see anything special to separate him from the rest. And especially in the 160-pound division, right now, he is a rival that has been gaining a lot of steam, and his name is Sheeraz. And hopefully they'll be able to put that fight together sometime soon, because now it's looking like Janibek needs Sheeraz, because who else is he going to fight? Carlos Adames. Nobody wants to see that, and Top Rank's not going to pay for that. And Adames is a PBC fighter, former Top Rank fighter, by the way. And Sheeraz Lara and Alimkhanuly does not move the needle, and I don't see it happening. However, for Sheeraz Lara, it could be a possible. If Sheeraz Lara he's ancient, he's 42 years old. So if PBC says, you know what, we want to roll the dice, you know, and we want to try to make Lara on his way out, an undisputed champion, they can try to go after Janibek. It'll be a good stylistic match. I'm not saying it's going to be a good fight. I'm saying two technical styles. We'll be able to see the sweet science, but for the most part, I gotta be honest. You know, it's just nothing I'm seeing there in Janibek, and that's my final thoughts on that. What's your final thoughts on Janibek before we talk about the rest of the card?
Well, as I said, I think he played with his food too much. He got exposed that, you know, his weaknesses. If you take him, put him in a phone booth, he's like a deer in the headlights. So he doesn't really know what to do. So even though I think that No Limit will try to sweep this event under the rug, because there was a lot of the timekeeper problems and all this other stuff we'll get into in a second, they'll be able to sweep it under the rug because it was such a tiny event. But everyone who watches that fight will go, well, this is a very good study point on Janibek's weaknesses. And, the middleweight division should be watching that fight. It's studying every inch, studying every second of it, going, yep, this is how we beat him. Because I think that's what Mikhailovich actually did. He actually said, well, here's a list of how you actually beat him. So, I mean, he was incapacitated for 6 rounds of that fight. He did extremely well. So, you can't discredit that. Gutsy performance. He was out on his feet. He was pretty much out in the second round, and he lasted another 6 rounds. So, you can't fault him for that.
And to Janibek's credit, we forgot to mention that he has been on a year layoff.
Yeah, true. But at that level, against that sort of opponent, he should have just dropped him in 4 and went home.
Or not played with his food in 2 and got him out of there.
Exactly. But on to the rest of the card, which there wasn't much.
Yeah, you was telling me about Shannon O'Connell. I was asleep during that fight. I didn't get that fight. But as I'm looking at at some photos here, it looks like she was getting banged up. She had a very bad head clash. There was 2 bad head clashes. One that caused a bad cut. Another was that caused a hematoma. But anyway, Mia Muto pretty much beat the shit out of Shannon anyway. Shannon needs to retire. She can't keep taking these beatings. She's 41 years old, almost 42. She's had, 30-something fights. And, she keeps just getting beat up. Ebony kicked the absolute shit out of her. Mia did pretty much the same. She's over 40 now. It's like, okay, you've taken some bad... She should have retired after Ebony. You've taken some very bad beatings, and she's had bad beatings in the past. It's like, you need to retire because... No limit. When are they going to stop bringing these 40-year-old fighters into the mix? And, if they're not getting knocked out in 90 seconds, they're getting hurt. Tommy Brown pulled his bicep off the bone against Mixer Rafa. Shannon O'Connell gets obliterated again. Why do they... it's not like there's not young fighters to replace them. There's Jazzy Pars fighting now for No Limit, so they can focus on her. Why focus on... I know everyone... Australian boxing has a soft spot for Shannon. She's been around for so long and she's done so many things, but at the end of the day, she's never won a world title, well, a major one. She's lost every major opportunity she's ever had presented to her, and she's copped some terrible hidings. So someone's just going to say, okay, and her shoulder's in 15 different pieces. Like, okay. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, she got that busted shoulder.
Exactly.
At 41.
So almost 42. She'll be 42 in January. So it's like, tap her on the shoulder and say, look, you're done. And that's the problem, is she's too tough for her own good.
Yeah.
That's the problem. These fighters don't know when to stop. It's like, well, you need to stop because we don't want to see you getting hurt. She's got 3 children to consider. So
yeah, it's time to let her go, and the kids don't want to keep it. I don't remember seeing her anywhere saying her kids watch her fights, but she needs to go home and actually be able to take her kids and lift them, because she's got that bum shoulder. But the question I didn't get to ask you is Tszyu Alimkhanuly. I would give Tszyu a chance right now today.
Oh yeah, for sure. Easy.
That's also another thing that we saw, that if Alimkhanuly wants to have a big fight and Tszyu decides to move up to 160, there you go. Tszyu can take his belts.
Exactly. But I don't think Tim's not gonna. If Tim beats Murtazaliev, which he probably will on October 20, I don't see him moving up to middleweight anytime soon. There's too many big fights at 154.
Exactly.
There's the Crawford fight, there's the Fandor rematch. So there's too many big fights. Yeah. If Boots moves up, there's too many big... Well, as I said, 160 is a dead division at the moment. It won't be forever. Don't worry. In probably 3 or 4 years, it'll be a massive division again.
Yeah, well.
But at the moment, it's friggin' on life support. But at the moment, 160's not for Tim at the moment, because if he doesn't win the belt, if he doesn't beat Murtazaliev, it's the natural move up to 160 and take over the division. But if he wins the belt, there's too many big fights at 154 for him to go to 160.
Yeah, for example, potential fighters that can move to 160 within the next 2 years: Fandora, Sergey Bahachuk, Israel Madrimov,
Nikita.
I would see he's more of a smaller 154, so I would doubt that. I can possibly see Lubin, depending on where his career will be, because Lubin's still young. I can see him moving to 160. Jesus Ramos, definitely, he can move to 160. So basically, yeah, there's some names out there that can possibly be getting up there in the 160-pound division. But since we're short on time, closing thoughts?
Well, by the timekeeper mishap, there was a couple of big mishaps. I mean, this event was very, very rushed. And luckily for No Limit, they can just sweep this under the rug because it was a 3-fight event. They can just go, within a couple of days, smartly, they put it on the same weekend as the NRL Grand Final. So by Sunday, no one's going to remember this fight anyway because everyone's going to be worried about the Storm playing the Panthers, and I hope the Storm kick the living shit out of the Panthers personally. And by Tuesday, everyone will forget the fight because everyone will be focused on who won the grand final.
Yeah.
So, who won the footy grand final. So, very smart strategic thing because it was like if he won, they can make a big deal of it. If he lost, which he was going to anyway, they can just sweep it under the rug and everyone forget about it by next Tuesday.
Well, there you go. So, with that being said, we will be back soon for some coverage on Tszyu versus Bakram Murtazaliev, and also Sam Goodman. We're still waiting on. It's already been announced.
Don't forget Liam Paro. We need to mention Liam Paro.
We got to talk about Liam Paro taking on Richardson Hitchens in Puerto Rico. So you can expect some more Australian boxing content coming in the next coming days. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe. Follow me on Twitter at TstreeT Controversy. And as you can see right here, you can follow Big J on the screen at Old Mate Big J. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe.